Welcome everyone to our brand new Grand Tactician Civil War campaign. This is going to be unlike anything I've ever done before. Not only do we have a much more capable AI and a much more updated game than we've ever had before in a Confederate campaign, but also I am going to be limited to only being able to recruit field units that are patron units. If you're familiar with how I do this, all the patrons at our captain level on up can request units that they get to customize and name in the game. If you're at the highest levels, you get to choose an entire division, and that'll be the army that we're able to field. Now, I'm going to probably rely very heavily, since I'm the South and I'm defending, on forts that will be garrisoned by non-patron units. Those I can build and those I can garrison with non-patron units, but my armies in the field can only be patron units. So I may only have 30 or 40 brigades in my entire army. So because of those things, I'm not going to max out the difficulty and the aggressiveness. I'm going to leave those at medium. Mediocre is the medium. You can go very easy, mediocre, hard, and very hard. So we're going to go mediocre. Just because I think that's the fairest way to do it, because I'm going to be so limited on numbers. I may be outnumbered 4 or 5 to 1 in the field before this is all said and done. I've chosen the Old Dominion, which gives us a +10 support in Virginia and a -5 to Union morale. King Cotton, which is going to give us a +20 to European intervention, which I've never seen happen in this game, but I'm hoping this will be the time. Support in all slave states +5. It also allows 3 and 4 agriculture policies, and then arms agents, which is going to allow me to have 50% bonus to available weapons. Weapons are going to be key for me for the limited number of units I have. And the Springfield weapon types will be available for production in the South's industry. It's also a -5 hit to the Union morale. So that's what we're going to choose. Let's dive in. All right, so first things first, we need to choose our early policies. I want to try and get to our recruitment caps as quickly as we can, as far as getting 2-year troops at least. And the quicker we can get there, the better. So we're going to start right away with Militia Act, which will get us in 10 days, and then another 25 days to be able to get the 2-year troops. And then we can actually start our recruiting. All right, Jefferson Davis calls for the militia. So we've completed that one. Lincoln has been inaugurated. Things are deteriorating rapidly. We can't actually do Militia Act 2 yet. Boy, okay. King Cotton #1. That'll continue to improve our relationship with the Europeans. So we might have to do that. Although I'm kind of waiting for the Demon of War. That will only be allowed to be able to be chosen once the war actually starts. So I guess we got a little bit of time here. I'm trying to find something that's a little shorter, but it doesn't look like there is anything. Importation of Enfield and Lorenz rifles might be a good thing, so let's work on Diplomacy 1. In the meantime, I'm kind of thinking maybe we should be constructing some new ships, just so we're making use of the time. Some fleets are going to get created once war begins, but in the meantime, I could be working on something here. Boy, frigate, 58 ships actually wouldn't be a bad idea. The CSS United States, which is such an ironic name for a Confederate ship. Let's go ahead and start working on that. All right, there's Diplomacy 1. And we're still only we're at March 30th, so we're getting closer to when the war will probably begin. But we're still not quite there. Let's go ahead and choose King Cotton 1. Strengthen the agricultural effort to increase the production of farms and plantations. With further policies, relations with European nations will improve, and acts to control cotton exports will become available. So we're going to do everything we can to try and get Europe in on this war. I just don't know if it'll happen, especially if the Union goes down the road of emancipation, which there's a good chance they'll do. All right, here go things. Beauregard issues an ultimatum. Major Anderson refuses to surrender at 4:30 a.m. Fort Johnston opens fire. Fort Sumter has surrendered. Now, that in and of itself will not really trigger things. It'll be when Lincoln calls for 75,000 volunteers to put down the rebellion. That's when you'll see Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas join the Confederacy, which I would expect to see any time now. Okay, there it is. Civil War. We've seen all of our initial armies populated. These are only 3-month troops, and we're going to, as soon as we're able to recruit enough units, we will kind of get rid of those initial units, and we'll switch everything over to only patron units in the field. Right now we've got 9 forces that are out here. Like I said, we'll see those go away. We'll combine those into other units as time allows, but we can't do that until we get an army in the field. So we now have the ability to reinforce squadrons the same way we reinforce armies by just adding a number of civilian ships, a number of warships, or a number of ironclads to the existing fleet. So let's see how that works in practicality. Let's see if we can add an ironclad. I don't think we can, because I don't know if we have any ironclads right now available to us, so it doesn't look like that actually happened. Let's try it this way. Try it with a warship. Savannah Squadron. Here we go. There, that did work. The CSS Germantown is under construction. All right, as I mentioned at the top of this video, I am going to be constructing a pretty significant amount of forts to try and help defend in the south. We're going to start here with a couple of forts in Nashville, along with some supply depots. We'll get all of that going at once. And then we're just going to hunker down and try to hang on and just bleed him white as best we can. Okay, we've completed King Cotton Policy 1. That means we can now start working on our military policy. We're at 30% British intervention, far from being where we want to be, but we got to start somewhere. So let's take a look real quick now at our policies. Militia Act 2, I had already started working on it, so we've got 21.5 days. And then we will start recruiting those patron units and start building up our army. Okay, down in Richmond, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start building some forts. I'm going to put 3 forts in Richmond. We're going to put about 10,000 men in each one. All right, the Confederacy calls for volunteers. 2-year contracts. So we're going to start recruiting now. I'm not going to worry about 3-year contracts quite yet. We'll get there. Diplomacy 2 will get us Enfield musketoons and Whitworth rifles. I am going to start thinking about finances, though, but not quite yet. King Cotton 2. Relations with Europe +5 allows the building and upgrade of cotton-clad ram ships. Let's go ahead and do King Cotton 2 and then begin the process of recruiting. We're about 3 weeks away from the forts in Richmond being done. Nashville's forts, 16 days away, but the recruitment now shifts to the armies in the field. I want to look and see what we have available to us. We've got about 95,000 men available. We'll be able to start getting some units in the field right away, so I'm excited about that. Let's go ahead and start making an army. All right, our forts are ready in Nashville. Fort Herbert, Fort Holmes. Guess we're going with the H's here. So let's go ahead and start garrisoning those. I'm going to put 2 units of infantry and 1 of artillery in each of those forts. But I'm actually not going to, you know what, I'm not going to do it yet because I want to save the existing recruits that I have to make sure I get my field armies done. But then once we have additional supplies of manpower and we've recruited all of our patron units, then we'll worry about that. I've got a long way to go on the patron units, but so far we're starting to make progress. I've got 2 of the 4 units in the 5th Australian Division, the AIF. These ones here are going to be ones that are going to be eliminated now that I've actually got those units in position. So let's go ahead and delete those. Oh, no, the Buckeye Blazers are actually a patron unit as well. They've got 30 days to get into place, though. Stonewall Jackson is going to be in command of our Western Army. Army of Tennessee under Beauregard. So we've got the 1st Tennessee Infantry, Gruber's Guards, Flemish Lions, and the Rebel Sons of Erin, who are still 6 days away. And then we can go ahead and get rid of that artillery unit as well as the Tennessee State Militia. Eliminating some of these units may actually free up some manpower for us to recruit additional units in some of these states. So we'll see if that helps at all with that. Calamari Crusaders are actually one of our patron units. Imperial Stormtroopers in the Army of the Potomac, Hampton Roads Guard, the Hungarian Impalers, and then here we have the Sexy Division, Virginia Legion, Gonzo's Gators, Carswell Crusaders, and Holly's Hurricanes. We don't have a lot of available options as far as artillery goes so far. That'll have to wait until later in the game to get some of those better artillery pieces. All right, there's King Cotton policy number 2. Where do we want to go from here? I think we go back to diplomacy 2. So we'll go ahead and start working on that. There is a conflict going on down here, but I can't get involved because the Army of the Shenandoah was involved in kind of a siege battle, and the Army of the Potomac, which is passing through, doesn't have the readiness to be able to reinforce that battle. So they're not able to do anything but basically march on past. I'm going to probably have to retreat Jeb Stuart's corps out of here. But they're going to go back the other way, which kind of stinks, because now both of these units... I have nothing defending Richmond right now. Nothing at all. It's a huge, huge problem, because somehow my armies got driven over that way, and I haven't even been able to get them back to Richmond. I'm trying really hard to do that right now. There we go. I think I can pull them back now. It's still taking a while to get these forts done. Okay, so I was afraid this might happen. Richmond's completely undefended, so the Department of Pennsylvania is going to move in and take it. But I'm not too worried about that right now. We'll take it back. We just don't even have the ability to fight right now. The readiness thing is really giving me a problem because I can't even move my forces to get them over to Richmond. Now the Department of Pennsylvania just up and moved, and he's actually going to try to take Petersburg. All right, we won a glorious victory at Stanton. That means we can actually move our armies now, finally. The readiness is terrible for both of them, but at least we can get them over to Richmond. I hadn't even completed the forts yet, so I didn't even really have an opportunity to defend my capital city. But we'll deal with that here. We may very well run into the Department of Pennsylvania. But man, we got major issues with our condition, our ammunition, our food situation, all of which will be resolved once we can get them over to Richmond. But he's recruiting super fast. He's got 114,000 to my 50,000, though I've got a lot on the way. Okay, one of the places I think I might have an opportunity is here with my Western Army. Now, Stonewall Jackson's got about 7,700 men. He's waiting for more to arrive, but the Army of the Mississippi is about 8,000 strong. I'm going to go try to hit them while I've got favorable numbers. I might even send Beauregard over that way too, but I think for now we'll hold him tight there in Nashville. Alright, two things are about to happen. Number one, we're about to complete our supply depots, and we're very close to completing our forts. We had to start over the construction of the forts because of losing Richmond, so we're a little ways off on that. But once we get some supply available to us and we're in a state of readiness, we're going to move on these two Union armies that are sitting west of Petersburg and Richmond. That'll be our first attempt at some combat. Okay, here we go. We're going to make our move. Oh. Okay, I see how it's going to be. So we're going to have to fight this battle and then bring our armies back to Richmond because those forts start degrading when they're not complete and the army pulls away. So, or either that or I'm going to have to just create a garrison that can sit on Richmond and build those things. The good news is that one of his units actually pulled back, leaving us to face down the Department of Pennsylvania with pretty significant number advantage. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and auto-resolve that one. It's really not even much of a fight. And once we defeat them, in fact, I'm going to probably pull one of these units out as quickly as I can. There we go, victory at Burkeville. Our first victory in the field, and it's not even one we really get to enjoy, but that's the way it goes sometimes. We got to pull these guys back to Richmond now. I've got to finish these forts. I'm a little concerned out west because I think the Army of the Mississippi has got 30,000 men and 100 guns. And we're sitting on Nashville with far, far less than that. Army of Tennessee's got 10,000 men. So I think I'm going to have to pull Stonewall Jackson over there, and then we're going to have to get some recruitment going for those 2 units there. I completed King Cotton number 3. We're still only at 24% British intervention. It just doesn't seem to be working for us there. We're going to go ahead and go Diplomacy 3 now. And then we'll start investing some money in those diplomacy acts. We're at 6 days away from finally having a fort complete in Richmond. Here's the numbers overall. 122,000 men in the field for the Union. We're up to 82,000 now. And I've still got several divisions and brigades to go. I think once all of our patron units are in the field, we're probably going to have somewhere around 140,000 men. It's going to be far less than the Union has when the time comes. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description that will take you to where you can sign up to have your own patron unit or even a division. All right, here comes the Department of the Ohio, ready for some combat. George McClellan, what are you thinking, dude? This will not go well for you. Let's take this one to the field, though, shall we? Okay, I decided to dig in around Mechanicsville, and I don't have my reinforcements yet, so right now the numbers are pretty even, and that appears to be right where he's coming from. So let's start putting our skirmishers out there. So we have the 41st Alabama Infantry, New York Copperheads, and the Tar Heel Legion over here on the left. And on the right, we have the Ruhr Valley Brigade. I will not even attempt to pronounce this one. The Vermlands Men under D.H. Hill. And then Pegram's Hamden Sydney Boys. Like I said, we have reinforcements on the way, but they're not here yet. They'll double my numbers once they arrive. Army of the Potomac. About 2 hours away. Looks like he's going to try to hit my left. And Ewell's detachment of the 41st Alabama gets to make first contact in our first battle in the field. Let's go ahead and tell Patton Anderson to move up over here on this side, see if we can't get some additional fire on him. How are we doing so far on numbers? Pretty even. It's just skirmishers right now, so there's not a lot happening. Ewell just pulled his skirmishers back in. Let's tell him to start making some long-range fire now. So now we get the 41st Alabama firing with their full volleys from their men. They've got Mississippi rifles, which have the longest range of any that I have available, 500 yards. See how they do performance-wise with those rifles. So far, so good. Let's push up a little further on this side now. See what we force him into. Call the skirmishers back in while we're at it. Alright, call them in. Let's get our main battle line firing all the way along the line here. They've got Springfields. We have a bit of a line of sight issue here. They don't seem to have any ability to fire. There we go. Now they're going to open up on the 2nd Brigade of the Department of the Ohio that's coming in. Okay, same thing here. We want to get the... Oh, what's going on there? Get the range opened up. Alright, this should go pretty well. We've got a 2-to-1 advantage. 2 brigades on 1. Oh, they don't have the ability to fire. Let's move. Shift them over a little bit. Come on, get over there. Our morale's significantly higher than his, which is really helpful. Of course, we're fighting around Richmond, so that should be expected. Alright, he's starting to move forward over here. Let's send out the skirmishers now, see if we can't engage these guys a little bit. My reinforcements arrive yet? No, they didn't. Still an hour away. That'll certainly turn the tide when that happens. We may not need them, though. So far, so good. Putting in heavy losses on those guys. Let's go ahead and tell Dorsey Pender to move up with the Tar Heel Legion. Alright, we need to get some more fire on his flank. It's just not happening so far. We need to move in closer. Here goes Churchill. He's dropping back. Alright, we'll just keep watching that bar shift our direction. 900 enemy casualties, only 218 of our own. We've just got the numbers. I mean, we're firing... We're putting far more guns on the firing line than he is. Let's get Pegram firing here. Not sure what's going on with our maneuvering here right now. Must be something about the hill, because those Enfields definitely should have a higher range than that. Oh, it's probably because these skirmishers are in the way. Let's call them back in. Love the 41st Alabama getting the range with these Mississippi rifles. We're going to definitely give them probably sharpshooter perk. Because they already have the long range, that'll allow them to level up even faster at long range. We got Springfield's there, Springfield's there. Ruhr Valley Brigade has the Lawrences. We got Enfields and Enfields. I think this one's about over. Not sure where the reinforcements are going to come from, but they're probably going to be too late. McClellan's not going to be real aggressive. Ah, here comes Jeb Stuart. Just when we don't need him anymore. Typical Jeb Stuart fashion, showing up late. I think the Union's pulling back. We're going to send everybody in Anderson's division after the unit that has been given the task of holding. See if we can't push them back. All right, we defeated McClellan decisively, just 376 casualties. And we inflicted 1,900 on him. So he'll learn his lesson in marching on Richmond the way that he did. So it's a good first step toward victory. We've got a long way to go to be able to win this thing. I've got quite a few patron units still to recruit, but I think within probably the third episode or so, we should have all of those units recruited. I'm going to wrap this one up, even though it wasn't that long. It's a good first episode to get things going. You may have noticed that we are now in 4K. We'll see how that goes as well. Let me know your thoughts. Hit that like button if you want to support this series and see more. Thanks for watching.